Greetings, viewers. I have another Ranga pen today. I've done videos on quite a few Ranga pens, but I've never actually done a full unboxing video, so we're going to do that today. This should be at least a Model 9B Giant. So let's open it up. All the Ranga pens I've gotten come in these sort of cloth outer bags with wax seals on the end, very kind of official looking and old-timey, if you will. All sorts of customs forms, etc. from India present here. So let's just open that up and see what we got. There's sort of strings tying this as well. So this is always, I always find this kind of interesting looking. So let's just quite literally dig into this right now. I've tried to open these in the past while preserving the cloth sack a little bit, and it's never, that's always posed very challenging. So I kind of gave up on that a bit. And now we have some newspaper wrappings here. Let's just cut through that a bit as well. Put the pen to the side for just a moment and let's see what the latest news is going on in India. Not much in the way of stories here. It looks like this was part of the sports section, and this seems to be a article about cricket. So interesting. So let's put the newspaper aside and let's actually get to the task at hand and look at the pen. So we have a little card in here from the Ranga Pen Company, has their contact information and a piece of pictures of their pens. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So if you guys want to contact Ranga Pens, you could just pause it right here and get all the contact information you need. Okay, and this is a typical box that Ranga pens come in. Luckily, I don't think I've ever gotten the same exact color or box twice, so I'm starting to get quite a nice collection of boxes from Ranga Pen. They have a snap open cap, and this is very typical of the eyedropper filled Ranga pens, where we get an extra nib and feed, which is always quite nice. And as always, they throw in a bonus pen. This is the Oliver exam pen. I've gotten one or two of these before. I will definitely be, I know I've been promising this for a while, but I definitely will be doing a video on all these different freebie pens that I've gotten over time. Now let's get to the main event here, which is the pen that we ordered. Let's set the box aside. Let's just cut this package open, and we will get at our pen, which wow, looks pretty nice. As you could probably tell right from the get-go, this is a clipless pen. I usually don't go for clipless pens, but this just looked really nice, so I went for it. I actually have another Ranga pen inbound on shipment that should be here in a month or two. That's also clipless. I'm not going to tell you what that is. You'll see it when I get it. I really like this material already. I'm taking a good look at it. So this is a blue and beige gloss finish ebonite, and look how nice. You can't even really see the seam between the cap and the body. That's how nice it seems to be. So this looks really nice, and oh boy, look at that section. That is pretty. That is quite nice looking. Pretty cool. This pen probably would post, but I'm probably going to avoid posting it so as not to disturb the finish. We'll see how long that lasts, because I tend to be a pretty avid poster of pens. So as I said, this is what they call the Model 9B Giant version. So again, I'm very, very pleased with the way this material looks. Really, really nice. They did a nice job with the gloss finish, etc. You have a little ventilation hole right there in the cap as well. So let's see how many turns this takes to open. So we've got one. Oh, it's going to be. Hold on. Let's start. We'll use the vent hole as a guideline. So we've got 1, 2. And about a quarter turn, so not bad. And let's take a look at this nib. This is a broad Canwrite nib. I had these nibs before. This is a two-tone version. Very, very nice nib indeed. Let's just zoom in a little bit. This should unscrew here to reveal the eyedropper filling mechanism, which should just, and as you can see, there's actually a little silicone grease in there already. So this should all be ready to go and fill with ink. Let's just take another look at the feed. This is nice. This is a nice ebonite feed. Nice nib, very well done. Really, really like this material. I think they did just a super job. I'm very, very pleased with this pen. Very, very pleased. But as we always say, oh, hold on a minute. We forgot to do one of the most important things we usually do. Let's do a size comparison. So here it is compared to a Lamy Safari and a Pilot Metropolitan. As you can see, this pen is much, 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 much bigger. So this is a big, big pen. So let's oh, you know what we should do? Let's compare it to some of the other Ranga pens that I have so we can get a good size judgment. Frankly, I never thought the Ranga Majestic was going to be dethroned in terms of pen size, but it looks like it has been by just a tiny bit. So here's the giant Model 9B that we're talking about today. Here's the Ranga Majestic, and as you can see, it's just a tiny bit bigger. This is a Ranga 4CS. This is a Ranga Model 3. This is a Ranga 8B, and just for a size comparison, here is a Lamy Safari. Again, not a small pen by any means, but considerably smaller than any of these. So this, by any definition, is a very, very big, very large, oversized pen. I was trying to think of what ink to put in this pen, and what I kept coming back to over and over again was this one, Robert Oster Soda Pop Blue. So we're just going to go with that one, and I'm going to be using this syringe. So let's get right to it with inking up this pen. Again, eyedropper pen, so we're just going to unscrew it and essentially put the ink right into this barrel with the syringe. This is probably one of the simplest filling procedures of any pen. So we're just we'll put a whole bunch of ink in here, and we'll just stick our syringe in and put some ink in. These eyedropper pens typically hold a very, very large amount of ink, and this one is no exception. We got an awful lot of ink in there. I'll just squirt the rest back in. You know, I think I'm going to take a tiny bit out because I think we maybe put a tiny bit too much in there, but there we go. But yeah, these things hold a lot of ink. So you just basically put this guy right in, and there you go. Now, what I typically like to do with something like this, because keep in mind the nib and the feed were never dipped in the ink, so to prime the feed, what I'm going to do is invert this and let it sit for a few minutes, and then we'll be right back and see how it writes. Okay, folks, what we're writing with here is a Ranga Giant, and we do mean giant. This is a very big pen, Model 9B, and this has a broad steel Canwrite nib. I've generally been very, very pleased with these Canwrite nibs. I have them on 3 or 4 different Ranga pens, and they've all been really, really performing well. So these are stiff nibs. They do not have flex, but they do write well. And as you can see, this is a smooth, wet pen, just really about what I would be expecting from one of these Ranga pens and Can-Write nibs. They've never disappointed me yet, and I like it quite a bit. I really like the fact that these have ebonite feeds, really nice sections, really well made, nice. This is a big pen, but it's comfortable to hold. It's got a good amount of girth, etc. Feels very solid and substantial. And again, I just think this material is really, really nice and special, if you will. Great pen. Really, really happy with it. I really am continuously to be impressed with the pens from Ranga. So excellent handmade pens from India. It takes a while to get them, so you'll order a pen. It takes between 1 and 2 months to get your pen, but when you do get them, I've always been quite pleased with them. So again, great pen. Really, really nice. Cannot complain at all. This is a wet writer though, so I will caution you guys. So if you can get the broad Can-Write nib, historically the pens I've had with the broad Can-Write nibs, they've written quite wet. I like that. If you don't, you may want to get a finer point. Plus, they also offer tons of other nib options. You can get Bach and Schmidt nibs. They basically will thread if you get the cartridge converter pens, they basically will thread it for pretty much all the major nib manufacturers. So that's a nice feature as well. So let's talk about this ink a little bit. So this is Robert Oster Soda Pop Blue. And as you probably know, Robert Oster inks come in these little plastic bottles. They are all made in Australia, and they're all pretty nice, to be honest with you. I have quite a few different Robert Oster inks, and I kind of like them all. Nice, interesting sets of colors. This one is no exception. To be honest, I mainly picked this one for this pen because I just thought it went really well with this pen. You do get a little bit of shading here. It's just a nice shade of blue, not too light, not too dark. You get a little bit of variation in color here, and I think in a nice wet pen like this, I think a nice broad and wet pen like this, I think it works really, really well. And as wet as this pen is writing at the moment, you will note that you do not get any bleed through on this Rhodia paper, which is really, really super. So even in a real nice wet pen like this, you're not seeing any bleed through. So I do like this ink quite a bit. I've been pleased with it. I've done a video before. If you want to see this ink in action in a different pen, and actually a stub nib, check out the video from quite a while ago on the TWSBI Go. So I have Robert Oster Soda Pop Blue in a stub nib on that video, so you get a slightly different perspective. Okay. I think that might just do it for this video. What do we say? I think so. Great pen this week. Great ink. All good. As always, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe. Leave a comment. Keep those thumbs up coming. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, see you next time. Bye-bye.